Good morning, class 5. I am Anil Bhagat, your science teacher from Modern International School, Hiswa. Welcome back to our e-learning program. Today, in this video lecture, we will discuss about chapter 10, that is the moon and eclipses. And today, we are going to discuss the topic tides from this chapter. In the previous lectures, we had discussed about moon, the surface of the moon, the different features of the moon and phases of the moon and gravity of the moon. Today we are going to discuss about one of the effects of gravity of the moon on our planet Earth, that is we called tide. So as we know that every heavenly body attracts other body towards its center. So the moon also attracts Earth towards its center. So the moon attracts water from the water bodies of the Earth towards its self. So the surface of the water raises and starts flowing here and there. So due to gravity, moon pulls water from seas and ocean towards itself, and this is called a tide. And there are two types of tide, that is high tide and low tide. And every high tide is followed by a low tide. So let's understand what happens during high tide and what happens during low tide. So when the water is pulled by the moon, when the water of the ocean and sea is pulled by the moon, it is called high tide. Means the water starts, the level of the water starts rising everywhere because of the force of gravity of the moon. So at the edges also the water level rises, and when the gravity becomes less, the water again goes back towards its, the water from the edges or the banks go back to the water body. So when there is a full moon night, the gravity of the moon is too much, is very high, and then comes the high tide, and then comes the highest tide on a full moon night. And as we know, when tides occur, the water level rises in the seashore. So this also helps us. But if there is an area where between two high tides, the areas between two high tides, there is a low tide, or when because of the gravity of the moon the water reaches the source, and when it comes back, so when it comes back, this condition is called low tide. When the water level rises at the surface or the corners or the banks of the river, it is called high tide. And when it comes back, it is called low tide. So what is the benefit of this low tide and high tide for us? So if you understood that about the tide, then what is happening? In high tide, the water level rises in the corners or in the banks or at the edges of the river, ocean, seas. So what will happen? The big ships can come to the edges or banks of the seas, oceans or river. But if there is a low tide, means water level goes down in the corners, then what will happen? The ships, they are not able to reach at the seas, at the corner of the or the edges or the banks of the river, because if at that time, means at the low time, the ships came to the edges or the banks, they will stuck in the mud or in the sand. So the fishermen or those carrier ships, they must know about the timing of high tide and timing of low tide, so they can travel with the help of their big ships or small ships also during the high tide and low tide. So class, I hope you are able to understand this small lecture about tide. If any problem, ask me class. I will help you. Have a great day. Be safe at home. Thank you.